Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. All right. It's been a little minute that I've been able to speak about John. It's been busy. But I want to keep my commitment and continue to study the book of John and talk about it. If you guys got any questions or feedback, feel free to put in the comments. If you have questions concerning the scriptures, you could privately message me. If you are in need of a Bible, a free Bible, if you are in need of a Bible, don't hesitate. I'll freely give you one. So we pick back up in John chapter 2. John chapter 2. The wedding at Cana. Alright, let's read. On the third day there was a wedding at Cana in Galilee, and the mother of Jesus was there. Jesus also was invited to the wedding with his disciples. When the wine ran out, the mother of Jesus said to him, "They have no wine." And Jesus said to her, "Woman, what does this have to do with me? My hour has not yet come." His mother said to the servants, "Do whatever he tells you." Now there were 6 stones, waters of jars, there for the Jewish rites of purification, each holding 20 or 30 gallons. Jesus said to the servants, "Fill the jars with water." And they filled them up to the brim. And he said to them, "Now draw some out and take it to the master of the feast." So they took it. When the master of the feast tasted the water now became wine, he did not know where it came from. Though the servants who had drawn the water knew, the master of the feast called the bridegroom and said to him, "Everyone serves good wine first, and when people have drank freely, then the poor wine later. But you have kept the good wine until now." This is the first of his signs Jesus did at Cana in Galilee, and manifest his glory, and his disciples believed in him. After this, he went down to Capernaum with his mother and his brothers and his disciples, and they stayed there for a few days. That's about 2 things that I see that catches my attention. Understanding who Jesus is, understanding that he is the Messiah. Now in chapter 1, the testimony of Jesus is by word. And now from chapter 2 and on, we will see Jesus' public ministry. Chapter 2 is where John writes about his public ministry. I took some notes here. His public ministry. This is 1 out of 8 signs John focuses on and writes about. The others disciples write signs and miracles, but John focuses on 8 miracles, and out of the 8, 6 of them the other gospels don't write. And this miracle, the first sign, it's one of them that the other disciples don't write about. So 6 out of 8 John writes and the others don't. So in the book of John, we will see 8 miracles and 8 signs and wonders that John writes. But at the end of John writes this at the last chapter and the last verse. Now there are also many other things that Jesus did, were every one of them to be written, I suppose that the world itself could not contain the books that would be written. So he did much more than 8. We'll see that and the other gospels, but John focuses on 8 miracle and signs. The focus is to point people to the knowledge of Jesus Christ as being the Messiah, as being God. And we will see these signs. John writes about the invitation. That's one of the things that sticks out to me. That the first sign that he writes about Jesus, the first miracle, happens at a wedding. And that to me sticks out because it tells me that God is about covenant. Later on, we will see Jesus is identified as the bride of the church. God honors and welcomes covenant. Covenant matters to God. Marriage matters to God. That's why when we come to the faith of Jesus Christ, we do it privately, but we also do it publicly through baptism. A couple that is serious about their relationship is serious about it not just privately, but also public. Couples make their covenant in public because covenant matters. Marriage matters to God. And we see that Jesus' mother sees a problem, and she puts that problem on the Son of God, on the Messiah. When John talks about my hour, when John writes about Jesus saying my hour, that is talking about the crucifixion, the coming of the atonement of the Lord. He does so at this point. It's not publicly to Israel. He was invited. You're not going to invite someone you don't know to a wedding. So they knew each other. Even the master of the feast didn't know who brought that good wine, but the servants knew. So it was very little that knew, and then John later on writes about this. We'll see. So chapter 1 talks about the testimony by word, and then chapter 2 we look at the testimony by works of Jesus. Jesus' public ministry goes from chapter 2 to all the way to chapter 12, and then Jesus' private ministry is from chapter 13 to 17, and then so chapter 13 to 17, Jesus' private ministry with the apostles in the upper room, and then chapter 18 to 21 is the cross and the resurrection and after the resurrection. So we will get more into John chapter 2 on the next video. God bless you. See you soon.